Good afternoon. Today in this video, we're going to be going through creating variations and then sending them via iGyro eSign for immediate signature from your clients. So we're sitting here on the iGyro job screen. You'd be familiar with these categories of jobs that are sitting up the top. I'm sitting on the on-site section here. So all of these jobs are on site. So I'll click one of these to open up that job and we'll shoot over to the variations tab. So this job has a lot of variations here already, but we'll just create a new one for today. So top right hand corner, we've got the new variation button. We'll click on that one. That will give us a blank row to work with here. So to edit that variation, click on the little edit button on the far right hand side. All right, some of the fields we're looking at here is the variation reference. So we can click on generate and that will give us the next available variation number for that job. And it just gives us a reference number for the clients to communicate what they're talking to with us about. The description is more of an in-house description here. So if we're doing a bath upgrade, we can just describe it as that. So you can put a good description in there just so that you can easily locate this variation at a later date. All right, the extension of time. So some variations may affect the timeline of your job. So let's say it's a variation and it might add another 5 working days to the job there. We can just type that in, 5 working days. And when a client approves this variation, it will add 5 working days onto the contract period for this job. So for this one, we'll just leave that as 0 working days additional. The next field here is the consent authority. So you can leave that blank. If you're working in a large geographic area, you may have consent authorities set up in a way where they apply loading to your catalog of items. So we pick one here. I'll pick that one. This one has got a loading of 10% on it. So you might find that items that are added from a catalog will have a 10% loading based on this consent authority that was selected here. Now the date field, so date decline. So if a client sees the variation and they decide not to go forward, we'd mark a date off in here. That will lock that variation down and say that they're not proceeding with that variation. Gives you a reference point to leave that in place so you can see what they did decline at that point in time. And also note that if you had, say, 5 working days as an extension of time, once it's declined, those 5 days will not be applied to the contract period. If, however, the client has approved this variation, we'll mark off the date to say that they approved. It'll lock that variation down again and also apply any extensions of time you may have had. Alrighty, the date claim is the last field there. So the date claimed field is mainly for your bookkeeper. So once they've set up a claim to claim the variation amount from the client, they could mark this off to say that they have claimed that on that particular date. Alrighty, then we progress down to the meat of the variation here. So this is where we actually type in the content that goes on to the variation. So a few ways to do that. The first way is just adding a blank item. So with that plus button, we'll get this screen here. This is very similar to iProcs, but we don't need categories here. Categories or subcategories, they don't really apply to a variation. So you can type in bath upgrade into there. Now, this is not very descriptive, bath upgrade, so you probably want to make sure you get that extremely descriptive so the client knows exactly what they're getting in this variation. We'd put in the cost to us, that bath upgrade, and this calculator here will work out the price to the client. So including your builder's margin, also any area loading if applicable because of the consent authority. Descriptions, you can add a description if you like, it'll just add a bit more detail to the item. And internal comments is for you and your team only. The clients won't see that. And you might use that to describe why you come up with that upgrade or various components that go in to build up that pricing. Alrighty, if I save that, it's applied that bath upgrade as a line item. We can change that to say 2 bath upgrades, and that will obviously tally that up for us. You can add more than one line item as well. Alrighty, it'll tally up that total for us. But the preferred method to get an item in here is to rely on your catalog. So those that are familiar with iProx, iProx has a built-in catalog system where you have items that you can use over and over again. So that same iProx catalog is available in variations, just under this little button here for master price list. And in my catalog, I do have a bath upgrade option, so I'll search for that. And we've got a provide upgrade to back to wall freestanding bath. So I'll select that item, click that green arrow to bring that into our variation. And there's our item right there. So we can double click that to edit that if we need to. But the benefit of using that catalog is that we've got a very descriptive item name here. It's got item code numbers from the supplier as well. So it's very consistent. So if you're always using that in your business, every time you add that item, it's consistently named and you know that the client knows exactly what they're getting. Pricing is also accurate too, of course. All right, so I'll just remove those other items. And we're now left with just that one item we added from the catalog. So as we're working through this variation screen, it's saving everything we do automatically. So once we're happy with the items that are on here, we can go back to the variations tab. This is the list of all our variations. Here's the new one that we're working on, variation 12. And you'll notice this little exclamation mark here. And if we hover our mouse over the top, you've got generate PDF variation. If we click on that, it pops up this new screen here, and it populates these client details based on the client tab. It has also popped in the builder, and the reason why this is here is that you can change the order of these recipients, and they will show up on your generated PDF for signature. So if we wanted the builder to sign first, we could drag him to the top. Or if we wanted to change the order of the clients, we could change them as well. In this instance, if we just want just one client to sign, we don't want the builder or the second client, we can just remove them off here. Alrighty, so I've just left it as just the one client, and we'll click on the Generate PDF button. Just give that a second, and that will generate. Alright, it's done two things here. We've got this pop-up here ready for eSign, but it has also downloaded that variation for us. So we open that file, that's what the variation looks like. Gives us an opportunity to make sure we're happy with the content. But variations always have the contract price, the amended contract price with the variation, the amount for this variation, totaling all those things together for us. You will notice down the bottom we've got our one client name here. If we had the second client plus the builder, there would also be sections here for them to sign as well. Righty, so this screen here, so the variation ready for eSign, we can choose to not send that to eSign by clicking the Not Now button. So you can then send off that PDF however you'd like, via your normal email if you prefer. The best method here is to send via eSign. So we'll click that option there. It'll open up the iGyro eSign, and you'll notice it's automatically brought the client details in, attached the right variation document. That client's email plus their phone number is there ready to go, ready for the SMS one-time PIN. And it's also filled out the title details and everything else for that variation as well. The only thing left for you to do is click on Save and Proceed at the top right. And normally you would go through and you would place signatures for each client onto this document. But with our new process, it's automatically done that for us. So you can see here that Benny needs to sign here and the date of the signature needs to go there as well, already pre-populated for you. You can add some other fields in there if you'd need to as part of this e-signing. Let's say you wanted initials on this page as well. You can just drag and drop that field where you'd like it. But simple as that, we've created a variation, popped it into eSign, then you can just click on that send button. That will send off to Benny and off it goes. So I won't do that just now. I'll just shoot back to Gyro. This is the screen you'd be on after you send that document anyway. So you can double click that to see the details of who it was sent to and whether they've signed it or seen the document. And one of the, or not one of the, there's lots of benefits to doing it this way, but if you use the variation tab, send it through eSign, it will automatically link to the job for us. So we can click through back to that job. And part of this integration is that the client will receive that variation for signature. As soon as they sign it, you'll get a copy emailed to you. The variation document, the signed variation document will come straight into here, into the iGyro variations folder for attachments here. And also, if we go to variations tab, it will also mark off the approved date for us. So without that integration, you would need to create a variation, send that to a client, get them to sign it, they would send it back to you. You would drag and drop that attachment back into iGyro manually, and you would need to come into variations, find the variation, and mark off the approved date for that as well. So this integration does that all in one step, all automatically for you. So that's all we've got for today, but as always, please let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for joining.